all you cool cats and space cowboys. It's time for Cosmic Tea with your host, Avalon Starlight.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Cosmic Tea podcast. Today I am not drinking tea, I am drinking mushroom coffee in a delightful mushroom teacup because I love pottery and I love actually utilizing adaptogens to make my brain function really, really well. And I am having a oh my gosh, what is the mushroom that I'm having in my coffee today? I looked it up. I even researched it earlier this morning because I was like, when I drink the calm mushroom tea, I find that it levels out my anxiety. And as somebody who is a highly sensitive empath, I haven't always been able to drink coffee. And I went decaf for over a year, but then the research was stating that decaf coffee isn't necessarily good for your digestive system. And as a highly sensitive person, my digestive system isn't always on point. I've been diagnosed after many tests with irritable bowel syndrome. And this is a really personal way to be starting episode 2. But in a way, I think it makes sense. Oh, ashwaganda. Ashwaganda is the mushroom coffee that I am drinking, and I do find, like I said, that it is the only one that I can drink that feels easy on my system. If you are listening to this and you know of a different type of coffee that as a highly sensitive empath can actually support reducing it, but still give you the benefits and love of the flavor and the joy of drinking coffee, please put that in the comments. I would love to hear from any highly sensitive empath who has found something different, but right now, this is my favorite. And I think sharing about the sensitivity of my digestion is fair because what we're going to be talking about today in episode 2 is going to be in alignment with my interview that's coming up with Sarah Jane this week. And we're talking about spiritual hygiene. And I think this is an important conversation to talk about as spiritual quest people who travel different realms, as empaths who have energy flowing to and through us, as healers, as light workers. What do we do to actually keep our energy clean and flushed through, like our small intestine, large intestines, and bowels? And I know that's, again, graphic, but I really do want you to think about your energy body as actually being a system where energy can get clogged and cause discomfort and stagnancy and oohness, right? So what I find, having worked with empaths since 2017, I don't even know when you're going to watch this, so I'm just going to say the year, 2017. I don't need to say my age, but since 2017, I've been working and jumping into people's energetic bodies and reading the energy of what happens when they're holding on to energy, holding on to people's emotions that they have just kind of sponged in, what's the name of the yellow dude? Oh my goodness, my brain is just in that SpongeBob SquarePants, right? And so we adopt, I'm going to give you a visual here. If you can imagine, I have a bunch of things on my desk and thinking about an empath walking into a room, and vibrationally, we're the tuners of the universe. So that means that no matter what type of empath you are, and I'll do an episode on different types of empaths, but just talking about it from the level of any empath, anyone who works with energy, walking into a room, energy is constantly moving to and through us. We are literally the universe's tuner stations. We have to choose where we are vibrationally setting ourselves to so that we can actually choose the higher energies that flow through us, or we can get caught bringing in denser energies. But when you walk into a room, there's a moment, if you're not protected, that different things happen. So you're going to pull in, and I've got a cream on my chest, this person's energy. The next person, I've got a lip gloss, more lip gloss. Everything is going into my heart, right? I'm going to put 2 more lip glosses in here. And all of a sudden what happens is you begin to take in maybe it's a family function and you care and you love. everybody that's in this family function, right? And somebody's talking about the hard day that they had at work, and you want to make them feel better. And just that intention of wanting to make them feel better could mean that vibrationally, you're going to take their sadness in, you're going to hold it in your heart, and they're going to somehow feel better just by talking around you, right? Maybe one of your kids are there and they had a tough day at school. They got a mark that they didn't want, or that somebody said something that hurt them, and you can feel or understand that they're in pain depending on what type of empath you are. And so you take that in, right? And then over time, your parents get ill, somebody does or says something and you want to protect them, a friend, coworker, whoever it is, you begin to actually legitimately, vibrationally siphon their discomfort away and hoard it into your heart like a little energy dragon. Little hoarder of energy and emotion. Now, ultimately, as empaths, we tend to want to help people. That is just generally the consensus globally of every empath that I've ever come in contact with. They all want to help, like sometimes to the point where it brings us to tears. We just feel the earth and the animals and the plants and the people and even alternate beings, right? Like if you tune up into working with cosmic energy, you might feel that they need you, right? And so we just have this desire, this innate sense to want to support and to heal and to help. But the problem is once we've taken in, and if you have never heard this concept before and you've been an empath your whole life, we're talking about like you taking in kids in your kindergarten class, right? Your first partner, if they were emotionally sad, like whatever it is, you are holding a lot of energy in your heart. So I have a meditation series that I'm actually going to be putting in YouTube, and it's going to be called Empath Spiritual Hygiene. And I'm putting a heart clearing meditation in there for you. And I will link this, if you're on YouTube watching this, into the comments so that you can go right there and listen to it. There's going to be 2 different things that I believe every empath needs to do to keep their energy clear and open and like a channel to receive whatever it is that you want to be receiving. Because if you've taken in, like, let's just talk about this from the level of what's happening. If you've taken in all this energy your entire life, it's going to create a set point for frequency that you're going to be tuning into. And remember, we want to be able to tune in to different like higher levels and not get caught in the weeds of dense emotion all the time. Like, I don't want you to walk into a room and only be able to see the people who are sad and want to fix them, right? But if you're holding a ton of energy in your heart that doesn't belong to you, it's going to be exhausting. Okay, so symptomatically, you are going to feel tired. You will start to round your shoulders forward because it will feel like your heart is weighted. It can feel like there's pressure at all times between your shoulder blades. When I read energy, I read this as literally like a tense ball behind the shoulder blades. I call it the library of other people's emotions. And some empaths, I mean, they have to create stack after stack, bookshelf after bookshelf. And if you store a lot, it will actually kind of transcend down into different areas. So you might feel the tightness condense down into your hip, into your tailbone, but ultimately it can just clog a lot of energy in your heart. Now, so other than the symptoms of this density, can't breathe, right? Like taking a deep inhale will be a challenge for you. It's also hard to receive because energetically, this takes up a lot of space. I mean, we are still vessels of energy. And if we're putting a lot of energy, holding on to a lot of energy, there's not anything else. Like if I opened a box and started filling it with a bunch of stuff, and then eventually it got full and I tried to put another object in the box, it's not going to go in. Right? It'll sit on top of the box. And the same thing's going to happen with your ability to receive, like from the universe, divine energy, love, light, whatever it is that you desire, the people that you want to help, whatever it is, right? And so the first thing you're going to want to do is actually do a heart clearing meditation. And you don't have to use a meditation. You can visualize it on your own. I'm just giving you a tool that I know works, that I use on myself and I use with my clients. And that's like, you want to take the time to actually take out, now I'm just taking all the lip glosses. I have a lot of lip glosses on my desk. Everybody that is taking up residence, squatting in my heart, taking up space, so that a few things will happen, right? You'll be able to breathe. because you'll be letting go of the density of holding on to so much. You'll be able to choose the type of energy you want to be feeling, because if you're holding on to a lot of people's energy that was sad, it will influence how you feel. You will feel like it's easier to be sad than it is to feel happiness or joy. You will also understand that we have a divine connection to source, and it is our specific vortex. And we use Abraham Hicks here, because I figure if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know who Abraham Hicks is. And so we have this channel of communication that is ours with spirit. If you're hoarding or protecting or feeling responsible for people, what happens is you become almost like a conduit for spirit to work through you. And so if you're finding that people can't take action on their own, like they have to come to you and ask your advice or ask for like what you would do, like your kids, your partner, this is a really powerful meditation to kind of clear that energy so that they can start to form relationship to the divine in whatever way feels in alignment to them, right? So you're clearing them to have that energy. And I often get asked this one question when it comes to heart clearing. They say like, yeah, but I love them, right? Like I love them. Why would I want to clear them out of my heart? And we do it with love, because preventing somebody to have a divine relationship with the source or the creator of their choosing isn't a way to actually help them. The divine has a much better view, bird's eye view, and a team of angels and ascended masters and light beings that can support whoever you love more than you can. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but I've had to swallow it about a bajillion times. So I'm pretty good at understanding that the divine is better at caring for the people that I love than I am, because I am a tiny speck of sand in a global beach of the galaxy, whereas spirit is the entire galaxy. Speck of sand, galaxy, much better equipped to care for the ones that I love. So the first thing in spiritual hygiene and energy hygiene is clearing your heart on a regular basis. The second part of this is cord cutting. Now, I will never forget the day that a cord cutting meditation came into my life. I ugly cried. I had recently, so I am an author. I've written multiple books. My first book was called My Kid is Driving Me Crazy, a mom's survival guide for living with a child with mental illness. It is a guide to support parents who have high maintenance children understand how to focus back on themselves when your life has been dedicated to being there for a child for the length of time that they require us. Period. We have to become the parent. It is absolutely a full-time job. And so there came a point where the toxicity of the relationship forced my son and I apart for a short time. And it was a very challenging decision, and it was really hard. And I had signed up on Facebook, because goodness knows when a thing comes up on your Facebook that says, you know, this healing, just show up at a stranger's house, walk into a stranger's house, sit down in a chair in a stranger's house, and let 6 people who you don't know, who say that they're going to help you clear energy, work on you, you do it. You do it because you're hurting, and you do it because you need to feel better. And so my first experience with the cord cutting meditation was seeing something online while I was in pain, going to a stranger's house. You get the gist of where I'm going with this. I sat in a chair facing away from these 6 strangers. They 2 on one side, 2 on the other, 2 behind me, a old school recorder, V8 like player. What are these called again? The boom boxy things comes to beside me. They place a box of Kleenex in my lap. I'm like, I have no idea what is about to happen. They press play, and all of a sudden I'm introduced to cord cutting. Holy macaroni and cheese. I cried so hard. What happens in our lives is that when we're in relationship with people, especially people that we love, people that have hurt us, people who we just feel great love and affection for, is we can create cords of attachment. And not all of these cords are positive. They're not all good. You know, our parents, our partners, our children, they poke at us, not in a bad way, but it just happens consciously or unconsciously. And so we create cords. And these cords over years and years and years accumulate. And so then you're attached to these people, and it comes up. You can find yourself like being like, that one time when you did this thing and that, or not being able to let go of something, or holding grudges. A lot of that can be because you are are attached with negative cords of attachment to that person. And so in this cord cutting, what I was taught is like you hold a high vibration of love. We are here as divine beings of light. And so we want our heart chakras to remain open to the person that we love and even the people that we don't. Like, I'm a divine being of light, and as uncomfortable as it is, I want to remain heart wide open regardless. And I have had some trauma, y'all. And the people that have impacted my trauma, I still keep my heart chakra open, and I haven't always, but I do now. And so for me, holding a heart to heart vibration of love, because I want to always be emoting and being love and light into this world, I remain that. And then I look to see all the other cords that are around the heart, and I begin to chop them, right? Like you release them from around you. And when this meditation came up in this container that I, walked into the stranger's house to actually experience, I could feel what it felt like to release my son and I from the bondage of all this negativity that we had experienced in our lives together, and the freedom that it was creating. But first of all, the sadness, the grief that it was creating, then the lighter energy. I just remember like crying so hard and so intensely that I didn't even know these people, and I couldn't even control it. And there were other things that we did in that experience, but this one really, really struck a chord with me. So much so that from that point on, anytime I worked with energy with anyone, because ultimately I did become an energy healer and an energy guide and support, this became an integral piece of all the work that I've ever done. And I've created, again, a cord cutting meditation based on the one I did with some different changes to it, obviously, to make it my own so that I could support other people, and especially empaths, highly sensitive people, ethereal seekers, realm, adventurers, to be able to make sure that you are clean, slated energetically, and not holding any negative cords of attachment to anything or anyone at any given time, so that you remain in a state of a higher vibrational frequency so that you can do your jobs and function easier. Now, what you're going to notice sometimes with doing a cord cutting is it's going to feel, again, a little harsh, like you don't love people. But believe me when I say it is with great love that we cord cut as well, because you want to release the density. You want to release the old stories and the programs that sit between you and others so that you can actually change the relationships that you have with them. Sometimes if we're releasing people that we don't have like the greatest relationship with, they'll call us right after, or we'll get a text or an email, because it's almost like they feel this jolt of not being able to pull any strings on you. So if it's been like, say, a narcissistic relationship or somebody who has had a power struggle with, these cords can kind of be tugged a little bit as you feel attached to them somehow. And so it's very freedom activating for anyone who is sensitive to energy to release all cords with every person in your entire life. And I don't mean like the people you went to school with. The heart clearing will do the job for that. But like people that, in the meditation that I'm going to share with you, you're going to get 3 people in each meditation so that you can kind of take the time to really do it through the first time. Once you're adept and you feel pretty good at being a cord cutter, I'm like a ninja now. I don't always do a full in-depth cord cutting. Sometimes I need to, but sometimes I'm just, and I like literally put in my hands across my body in an aggressive way to just like viscerally cut cords. Somebody asked me actually today in empath school, does that actually work, or is it the intention of cutting the cords? And for me, it's both, right? Like I need the physical actual action of cutting them, and I also need the intention that I am releasing any cords for me and whoever it is so that they're free. And when you begin to do a lot of cord cutting, you can actually feel like almost like when people hook you, right? Because that's how cords begin. It's like a hook. And don't think that you're not hooking people, because you are. So you also want to cut the cords that you're hooking people with. But like, if you're like partners, like, I'm going to leave, I'm going to go out for the night. And you're like, oh, but I really wanted you to stay. It's like hook, right? That's how fast cords of attachment can happen. So we want to make sure that we're releasing the cords that we're attaching. But there comes a time in your energy journey that you'll actually feel somebody like hooking you, and you'll see the hook and you'll be like, No, thank you. So I define like the spiritual hygiene episode to be like, if you felt like, you know, you didn't want to brush your teeth, what would happen, right? Like if today you decided, I'm never going to brush my teeth again. I did brush my teeth today. So, you know, shit's going to accumulate, and then you're going to like get sore, and then cavities and yucky things can happen to your teeth because you're not doing the hygiene that your teeth requires for them to feel clean and beautiful and nice. I equate these two experiences, these two exercises, as spiritual hygiene for empaths, healers, highly sensitive people, light workers, anyone who is working in energy in any form. We really do need to be conscious of our own capacity to take things in. So we want to make sure we're releasing and letting go of any energy that doesn't belong to us, so that we can be in position to tune ourselves to the actual energy we want in our life, right? And two, to actually be able to receive the things that we're intending, right? Like we work really hard to desire or to want or to experience world a certain way. And if you're jacked up on other people's energy and emotions, you're really choosing to stay clogged and prevent really neat things from coming into your energy field, into your life. So this is a really important episode to me as an empath and highly sensitive person, to understand that we have spiritual hygiene, energetic hygiene that's important to us in order to keep our energy clean and clear, so that we can be in higher service, because that's what it is for me. Like I really want to help as many empaths and highly sensitive people around the world be able to live fulfilling lives, doing work that lights them up. Because to me, every empath needs unconditional love. They need a job that lights them up, work that lights them up. It doesn't have to be a job. We can say work that lights them up. And we require, you know, a really deep connection to both earth and sky, because these energies influence us on the daily, on the regular. So have a listen. Let me know, have you done either of these techniques? Have you heard of them? Are you an empath? Are you a highly sensitive person? Does this resonate? Do the meditations, make a comment under the meditations. Let me know the experiences that you have. This podcast isn't just about me telling you things. This podcast, I want it to be an adventure together. If there's things that you want to like, be like, ooh, can you talk about Atlantis, which we actually do have a conversation with somebody who's bringing the energy of Atlantis back to the earth coming up in a few weeks. Like, let me know, Cosmic Tea, what conversations do we want to be having in this energetic relationship that we are building together? So this is episode 2. Super excited. It was just like, you have to talk about this, especially after talking about what I'm talking about with Sarah coming up, Sarah Jane coming up this week. But I look forward to going on this quest of an adventure of energy and cosmic mayhem that we're going to go on together. So have a magical day. And if you're looking for a community where we do really fun things, you can head over to Facebook to the Haven and Empath community and join me there. Have a great day.